This morning I woke up to the sound of hands on the side of my van. It was a little startling way to wake up, and it kind of sounded like maybe somebody was investigating climbing up on the roof, which I assumed was an intent to steal my gasoline that's up there. So I quietly got out of bed, came to the side door, poked my head up on the roof. There was nobody there. I heard a noise in the bush, so I turned around and looked out this way, and there was a bear, a rather normal-sized adult black bear, walking away rather quickly. Once I had opened my van door, it wanted absolutely nothing to do with me, as bears generally don't. And it got me to thinking about all the comments I've had on this channel, people scared of bears and cougars, and mostly bears and cougars when they go outside. And I realized that my most terrifying and potentially life-threatening wildlife encounters have not been with bears or cougars. So I thought today I would share two stories of the most absolutely terrifying wildlife encounters I've ever had in my life that both just happen to involve van life. If you're new here, my name's Amanda. I've lived on the road with my best friend Frank for more than 8 years. This is Truck, which we've been in for more than 5 years. I built it out myself. Did the paint job with my dad, did the engine swap with my dad. It's a great van. I love it. It's a very nice upgrade after living in an unbuilt minivan for more than 2 years. And before that, we were in a tent for a while. And before that, we were in another van that died. So the first story I'm going to share happened 2 years ago, yesterday actually, and I made a little video about it at the time. I had just been starting to think about moving in this direction. I'm very slow at things because it took another year after that, pretty much before I was actually making videos. But I made this video telling the story as it was happening. So all the emotions are there, and I can't do a better job telling that story than I did in that video. So I'm just gonna play for you. There's a mosquito stuck in my hair. It's just like buzzing like crazy. Anyways, I'm just gonna play that video for you now, and then after I'm gonna tell you the second story, which is maybe even scarier. Actually, yes, it was scarier. Welcome to another IGTV episode of Truck Tales, where I'm about to tell you a story that literally just happened here in camp where I am sheltering in place. It freaked me out. Yeah, so here you go. Here's our rattlesnake story. So as you can see, the snake is in camp and he's coming right at me, but I'm in the van, so don't worry. It is only about 5 or 6 feet away, so you can probably hear him rattling. So I was inside in bed working on another article for Medium, and I hear this like insane rattling sound, and like obviously I'm like, oh fuck, it's a rattlesnake. I wanted to believe it was an insect, but Frank's not in the van. Frank's outside. So I go outside, and this freaking rattlesnake is like 6-7 feet from the van, just like at an angle, so not even like away from the van, but like from the doorway, and Frank's an equal distance on the other side of it, and he's freaked out and he's like frozen. Like, he can tell this is not something he wants to mess with. So it's like I like in my doorway, it's just like to the right a bit, like at an angle, like say my doorway is facing north, it's like northeast, so I go out northwest away from the snake and call Frank over to me, so he comes over to me, and we go around to the other side of the van and come in the driver's door so that we're safe inside. And he's such a good boy. Like, look at him. He was so freaked out, and of course I'm freaked out. And so then I like took some photos and video of it from the doorway, and I can see, and so it came towards the van. It got even closer to the van, and it's just freaking like right in front of my crash pad, like 6 feet from the door, and every time I open the door a bit, it just rattles like crazy at me, and it's just there. Like, we're just trapped in our van. Like, it isn't going anywhere. It's just there, coiled up, angry, rattling, and we are now held hostage in our van. And I'm gonna try to keep my eye on it so I know when it's safely gone out of the area. Otherwise, we're just stuck in here. Like, what if it hides in my garbage pile or under my crash pad or under my bed? like being here anymore. I'm super ready to get out of the desert. It's Tuesday and I can't hit the road till Friday, but oh my god. I am so glad that Frank is smart and we've practiced like snake aversion training just on our own, because we have non-venomous snakes where we're from. So anytime he ever noticed a snake, I would scare him and scold him that they're bad. And he's also a really smart boy, so I think, you know, the snake's fucking rattling at him. I think he's like, what is this? And like knew to stay away. So luckily he's not a puppy. Luckily he's not like a different type of dog, and he's smart. But yeah, we're trapped in our van right now, and yeah, I'm clearly freaked out. I don't know what to do. I don't want to hurt the snake. I just want it to go away. But unless I see it leave, I will not be comfortable ever leaving this van, and that's really scary. It's I don't even know what to say. Yeah, so I don't know. Wish us luck. So I just watched the snake move along my crash pad and then away from the van a bit, and then I opened the door and it froze, so I'm just sitting and watching it just to make sure that it keeps going away. But like, oh my, it was so emotional. Like, I'm pretty sure once it's officially gone, I'm just gonna break down crying, because I don't know, I never just thought it would just come into camp. Like, I just thought, oh, if we're here and there's no snakes around, we're safe, which obviously isn't the case. And like I said, I'm just so freaking glad that Frank is such a smart dog and that he's okay. I mean, so here you can see this is like my doorway, and the snake was there, and there it is now, and Frank was there when I came out and saw this happening. So like, that's like a pretty close area for this all to go down in. So the snake is still in that bush, and I'm just gonna be spending the rest of my day in my doorway, making sure Frank stays inside and trying to keep an eye on the snake so I know when it goes further away. And then, yeah, I guess making a plan for how we're gonna deal with our last few days out here, because it's supposed to get warmer. And yeah, all of a sudden this whole rattlesnake thing just became like a much more apparent reality than I had considered before. So okay, so it's in that bush, and every time I move it just starts yelling at me. See, do you hear it? Oh my god. At least the view from my doorway isn't so bad, even if I might be stuck here for a while waiting for the snake to carry on its merry way. Stay safe out there, everyone. So the thing with wildlife being scary and dangerous is that it's most scary when you don't understand it, when you're not familiar with it. And although we do have rattlesnakes in a small part of British Columbia, it is generally not something I encounter in my life. But I knew it was something that I could potentially encounter, so I knew a little bit about it and had taken the initiative to do snake aversion training with Frank, which obviously paid off in the end because he's alive and he didn't go investigate the snake. And we were very, very far from anywhere civilized or any sort of emergency vet. So it could have been the end of his life if I had not done that training with him. And he wasn't such like a kind of keen to danger sort of dogs, because we have been in a lot of dangerous situations. So I'm very proud of him. And it was one of only a couple rattlesnake encounters I've ever had in my life, but it was so scary at the time. So this next story of a terrifying wildlife encounter involves a much larger animal up in northern BC. It was my second year living in the van. I was in the minivan at the time, and I was out morel picking. I was doing commercial morel picking in a burn for money, picking mushrooms every day to make money. That's what I did. So I had been picking in this one area for a few days with one of our campmates, and he wanted to go back there that morning. And I said to him, you know, I don't really want to go pick there. I would like to go somewhere different. I want to have a bit of an adventure today. So I go by myself out to this far section of burn that I hadn't explored and that nobody in my camp had explored. And it was like right on the edge of burned terrain and not burned terrain. And I'm walking along and I find a couple mushrooms here and there. And I saw some orchids. I was like, oh, that's really nice. And I saw some false morels. I'm like, oh, that's really nice. And I'm thinking it's so full of life in here for a burn. It's so lovely. And I get into a charred area and I'm picking mushrooms. And I get a sense that something's there. And so I look up. And my first thought is that is the hugest grizzly bear I have ever seen in my life. I was so scared. And then I realized that is not a grizzly bear. That is a moose. That is a mama moose with a baby standing behind it, like filled in all the gaps. And this combination of moose was, I swear, bigger than my minivan. It was like my minivan on legs. As it's coming to me, like what the situation really is, she also is realizing that I'm there. And so I say to her in a really calm, gentle voice, like, I'm really sorry for disturbing you. I don't mean any harm. I'm just picking mushrooms. Well, she did not like that. She's like, and charges at me. And I spill morels everywhere. There's mushrooms all over the place. And Frank is barking at her and lunging at her, and I'm screaming at him to leave her alone. And the calf has like stayed up on the bank a little bit. I have about 10 feet behind me, and there's like a steep drop off. Not quite a cliff, but pretty much a cliff. And the trees are like this big, like they're not very big trees. And she's kind of like coming at me and I'm like trying to dodge her, terrified, absolutely terrified. Cause she's huge, she's massive, and Frank's antagonizing her. So I'm trying to yell at him to get him to leave her alone so that she'll stop seeing us as a threat. And I realize like she is not backing down. Like I have threatened her child in her mind, and this is not going to end well, and I can't climb these trees and I can't hide behind these trees, and there's nowhere for me to go. And so I just scream in absolute terror out of instinct, really, really high pitched, get out of here! And she just freezes and she looks at me like, oh, you're a pathetic, useless little creature. And she just like slowly like walks back to her calf. And I'm screaming and I'm screaming and I'm like on a whistle and I'm whistling like I'm gonna die. And she's just like, whatever. She just slowly and gets her calf, and they just slowly walk away. And I'm just like panting, mushrooms everywhere. My throat hurt for days after that because I had screamed so high pitched and so loud not because I thought that was the right thing to do, but because in that moment, that was all I could instinctively do to try to save my life, and it worked. So yeah, and the interesting thing is up there are lots of bears, and there's grizzly bears, and bears can be very dangerous. But most of the people in our camp were people from countries where there's no bears. And the friend that had kind of taken me under her wing was from the Yukon. She was very familiar with bears, and she told everyone there early on in the camp season that yes, bears are dangerous, but you don't need to worry about them. You need to be more worried about moose. She was right, and I had quite the adventure that day, something I will never forget. So those are two of my absolute most terrifying wildlife encounters, and potentially most dangerous to me. Other wildlife that's actually quite dangerous that people don't realize are like ticks and like insects that can spread disease. Those are way more likely to cause you long-term problems than like a cougar, statistically. I have been stalked by cougars. They're not something I worry about. I've encountered over 50 different bears on foot in person. It's always been fine. I've always reacted differently in the moment to each bear. It's always been the right encounter. So I trust myself to deal with that. But yeah, a rattlesnake and a moose, like two completely different ends of the spectrum. And yeah, I've experienced it. I've also just seen other animals that are really neat to encounter and be no threat by them to me. The most notable being a wolverine. That was a really, really cool creature to witness in the wild. And I've also had really bad encounters with coyotes. Frank has a scar from it. They're big and they can be more aggressive than you imagine. They were his size, and two of them decided to go after him. So he is fine. He got like one big puncture on his butt, and he healed, and it was totally fine. And we had beef with those coyotes for a couple years. Anytime I'd see them, I would just run after them screaming or chase them down with my van, because they were habitualized to people and would come in parking lots and beg for food and stuff. And you just can't let animals get that comfortable in human spaces. Mosquitoes. So yeah, thanks for listening to my stories. I hope you enjoyed them. I've still been struggling with allergies and headaches a lot lately, and until today it's been raining quite a bit, so I've just been enjoying a lot of downtime, resting, gathering my strength for some really big life-changing projects and events I have coming up over the next month, which will all end up in video. But I've wanted to take a break from screen time just to like help my head feel okay. So yeah, I'll be back soon with an episode on navigation tips, tricks, and tools that I use to find all the amazing places I go to. So that's coming. And then yeah, some more awesome vlog style videos like I normally make on this channel. I have some fun footage. I just need to find the time and power resources to put that together for you. So yeah. Oh, before I go, I have some new stickers. This one with the green to purple tied line to alpine. And I also have this one here and this one here. So those are going to be up on my shop by the time you see this. So I'm also going to put together a sticker bundle, which I'll show you an image of right here. You're looking at it at a special price that includes this mini Frank sticker that you otherwise can only get by seeing me in person or being a patron. I mail them out to patrons after they've been on board for about 3 months, just because it takes me a while to get around to things, and that's how long it would be if they did it for me. So yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's available in the sticker bundle, and it's nice because it's little, so it fits on like tiny mugs and things like that. So I like it. So yes, if you love stickers like I do, check out my website because I have all sorts of stickers on there now. I'm obsessed with stickers, and so I'm making lots of stickers. Anyways, that's it for this video. Please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Well, congratulations on having an amazing attention span and watching all the way to the end of this video. Thank you so much. If you're interested in more wildlife encounters, there's this video where I see a grizzly bear on foot for one of my first times, and also watch a snake eat a baby bird at the end of the video, so maybe don't watch the whole thing if that's too much for you. Or this one where I had an amazing time observing a black bear on the beach.